Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitters. Off-Road Podcast, episode 330, For the Poors.
Tonight, Aaron applies at NASA, Coy shoots for the moon, and Ben gets extra spicy COVID. And Andy returns again. This time, we might get to the main topic. Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron and Coy, and Andy, and welcome to the show.
The Weekend Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And while you're there, make sure you use Off-Road Podcast for 10% off.
You know, having medical gear like a pole socks, it came in handy.
Yeah, you mentioned that in one of the last episodes. I want to mention that I used my medical kit over the weekend. My daughter was running around, and she apparently grabbed onto a tree or something, and she put like 400 slivers in the palm of her hand. Ooh. Yeah, and I'm not kidding. Some of them, I guess I've got big hands, so if I said they were this big, they're actually probably this big because she's got a smaller hand, but they went across 2/3 of her palm. Some of them were just all the way through.
Yikes.
And, so we got to use tweezers out of the medical kit and some other things, but the thing that worked the best for it was a Band-Aid. So Band-Aids don't work for slivers, period. They don't do anything, but for some reason there's something magical about putting a Band-Aid on a child that makes boo-boos not hurt. So,
yep.
Keep some Band-Aids in your, I'm sure everybody does, but keep some Band-Aids in your kit, and it'll help your kids.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, you've already got started. What's going, man?
Well, I got approved to go to SHOT Show, which is coming up in January. I'm super looking forward to that. Well, I got approved to go to SHOT Show, which is coming up in January. I'm super looking forward. That's fun. Am I going to echo again? Did you guys hear that?
I heard that. It was weird.
Maybe that was me. Sorry. I don't know how that would have been me, but I had Facebook open and I saw the Off-Road Podcast, which I had to click on. So
Yes.
Perhaps it was doing that.
It was backfeeding on your end. That's all right.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's exciting to watch yourself. I know.
That's pretty much all I want to do anyway. So
So yeah, I got approved to go to SHOT Show. And so I'll be doing that in January. SHOT Show is a trade show for the firearms industry. Can't tell if Coy froze up or if he's doing a really good job statue down there. Besides that, I out of the blue reached out to a friend of mine and said, hey, let's go to Central Oregon and shoot off some rockets. So our two families went down to Prineville and stayed in Prineville for a couple days. And so Friday night and Saturday. And on Saturday, we went and drove an hour away to a small town called Brothers. And they've got a rocket launching area down there. And so when we got there, there was some people there getting ready to launch a rocket off. And this is the rocket you can see here that they launched off. It was only 10 feet tall, so not a very big one. I'm pretty sure you could almost hit North Korea with that rocket, it would seem. So,
You know, your friend that went with you, he looks mighty familiar.
he has that look to him.
is that
So-
Elon Musk?
No, but he went to college with him.
Oh.
So, yeah, so I don't really want to say too many details about this rocket because I don't know if it's secret for them to not talk about it. Because I checked their website and they they haven't announced anything online, so maybe they aren't announcing it yet. Maybe there'll be a press release or something like that. So I don't want to give too many details away, but this rocket was legit, and I can't say it had 2 stages, and I've got a video of it. I'm going to show this video. The first part of the video, I should have edited it before I did it, but the first part, they're getting ready to launch it, then they realized they weren't ready to launch it. Darwin says, did that place have a ceiling limit for that location? I don't know if it did or not, but I do know that they said that they got clearance from the FAA to shoot that off. So pretty neat. So here's the video.
Test of a 2-stage. Right now the flight line is clear and we have clear skies. And we're going to be launching in 5.
They're separate. So I was so excited about that rocket launch that I forgot to film the second stage, but it did separate. It shot off the second stage. Both of the pieces parachuted down like more than a mile away. So that was fun seeing them launch. And then once they were done, we shot off some of our stuff. So here's a quickie of one that we shot off.
Too much on that.
There it is. There it is.
I think that one might land in the
Can't. So, yeah.
You know what I love about that
Pretty fun.
is the kids love that just as much as the big one as the little one.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun. So we brought 5 rockets and like 6 packets of rocket motors, and we just kind of worked our way from the smallest one up to the biggest one. And as soon as we put the biggest engine in the biggest rocket and fired it off, it shot somewhere that we couldn't find it anymore. So
Nice.
it's gone. Yeah. Darwin says clout move when you need the government approval to shoot off your rocket. So yeah, pretty cool. And if anybody knows, is it a rocket motor or a rocket engine? I'd like to know in the comments if you know if it's a rocket motor or a rocket engine.
So, I find it hilarious that Oregon has a place called Sisters and Brothers.
I was gonna say that.
Right?
You totally took my line.
And I went through both of them this weekend.
That's hilarious. Hilarious.
Yep.
For what it's worth, by the way, it does look like SD's rockets does call them engines.
Okay. All right. Thanks for just taking that away from our listeners in the comments.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else I can do to like impede listener feedback? Let me know.
Well, Ben, what have you been up to?
Well, I'll just open it with a picture. Yeah, that was my week. I ended up getting hospitalized with the COVID. I got it extra spicy. Apparently, because that's how I like my life, is extra spicy. I got COVID with pneumonia and ended up in the hospital. Apparently, when you're fat and extra prone to problems, you end up in the hospital. So I got cold meals. I got to stay in an ER for 24 hours, and I had to argue to get out because I hadn't slept in 24 hours. I'd taken a nap before I decided that, yes, it was time to go. I got to the point where I'd get up and my oxygen level, I mentioned the pulse ox. I'd get up and I'd go from like 93 to 85 and I'd be gasping for air. And so I was like, something's up. And I couldn't take a full breath. So I went to the hospital and they gave me, I got stabbed like 20 times probably. I had like
By
3
yourself?
IVs. No, my wife drove me. You,
Just check it.
the best part of the whole this is my wife still has not gotten COVID.
That's good.
Yeah. So I ended up in the hospital with pneumonia. And to leave the hospital, I had to keep my oxygen level above 90 when walking to the bathroom, which the bathroom was 50 feet away. So I walked to the bathroom and I breathed very carefully and walked very slowly. And I got to the bathroom and I'm like, okay, I passed your test. Now I'm going home. And they let me go home. And then I started feeling better, kind of. So yeah, and then I'm finally at the point where I can walk around the house and not die when I walk. Still recovering, but they gave me a bunch of shots for pneumonia and other stuff. So yeah, I'm on the road to recovery, but I've never come so close to touching God, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah, no kidding. Way to
COVID's
keep
a joke.
way to keep hold of the No Wheel November thing too. By the way,
Right?
I'm right with you. I'm right there with you.
I'm trying hard. I mean, I actually today on my memories, I just shared in the Facebook group. No Wheel of November was last year. I got stuck up above Greenwater, so yeah, it's been a brutal week, but I've been able to entertain myself with television and YouTube, catching up on all that cool court stuff going on out east. So yep, that's been pretty much my life, just laying around trying to figure out things to do and keep my mind busy. So I had fun today I finally caught up on editing too. So I released like 4 episodes because it's kind of hard to edit when you can't walk out to the garage. So I edited a bunch of podcasts and I'm all caught up finally. So that's all good. And then I did some awesome, in my opinion, photoshopping, which we'll talk about later.
Oh, it's coming up. Yeah. Coy, what have you been up to? Coy?
Oh, well, I went and launched some rockets with you, so that was fun. Hung out with my buddy Elon Musk, and I don't know what else I've been doing.
So, yeah, we lost Coy. Coy was in here with us at the beginning. He just sent me a message, and he says AT&T just throttled me to 128 kbps. Can't even reconnect. So,
Not good.
Yeah, we might see him later.
Yeah, maybe not. So I was not saying in the beginning who I went and shot model rockets off with, but that was Coy in that picture. So Coy and I went and we stayed at some cabins at a friend's RV park, and we had a pretty good time. So Andy in the comments says that Elon is his old community college buddy, and you can hear about that over on the Horsepower Hour. Elon comes up from time to time when they're talking about the show. He hasn't been on though to dispute that claim, so it must be true.
Definitely.
Strangely.
Seems legit.
Well,
how about Andy?
Oh, what about me? Let's see. What have I done? So I'm still recovering. Hold on one sec. That'll help. So I'm still recovering from a bit of a back thing. But yesterday was the first day I actually started turning some wrenches again, being real careful with my back. But got underneath one of my 4-wheel drives in an attempt to fix a starter. I think there might just have been some corrosion either on the sending unit wire or one of the terminals on the starter. But I made sure everything was tight. Hopefully corrosion free now. Went for a drive. Started 4 out of the 4 times. So knock on wood, hoping that is done. So. Otherwise, much like Ben, I'm attempting not to go wheeling this month. And so far, I've been very successful at it.
We can do it. We can do it.
Ooh, it's gonna be tough. Next week, I'm taking a couple of days off, headed to the Oregon coast for some R&R. Boy, sure would hate to have to put it in 4-wheel drive. So,
Well, if you would have went this weekend to the Oregon coast, you probably would have put it in 4-wheel drive to get through a bunch of the flooding that was happening out there.
yes, I have some friends,
Oregon got
some good
hammered.
friends in Tillamook, and they've got water in their basements. And as I speak right now, we have some very dear friends up in Canada who are getting completely, absolutely walloped. They've had like 9 inches of rain in 48 hours in parts of British Columbia. In all seriousness, my heart goes out to all those people up there. Hope you're safe. Be smart, and do the right thing. Don't drive through crazy water. So
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'm surprised how much we've not been hit by it in my neck of the woods.
Mhm.
Like up north, it's pretty bad, and down south, it was pretty bad. I'm on like the flood watch thing for search and rescue, and one of the spots we check is on my way to take my son to school. So I drove by it today just to take a look, and I'm like, oh, it's actually not that bad. It's got like another 4 feet before it gets dangerous.
Yeah, there are some entire towns in British Columbia that are evacuating right now. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nuts right there.
Yep.
Well, hopefully that will mean lots of snow in the winter.
One can only hope.
Right.
We can have some sort of silver lining out of it, right?
Let's hope so.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month.
Show those patches, Aaron. Show them.
Yeah, what do we got there?
Got the Franken Gun, so it is an amalgamation of way too many things that it's
Scar, AUG, AR-15,
AK, AR.
Yep.
Yeah, all the wrong things, plus a bayonet and a laser and an ACOG. So yeah, Franken Gun. And another green one. You may recognize him, Slimer. Who doesn't
love Slimer? Yeah, seriously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else suddenly want some Ecto Cooler too?
There we go.
Was that Capri Sun or High C? I can't remember.
That was High C. I think I drank enough of that in junior high school or whenever elementary school. Whenever. Well, it's no wonder I have diabetes. But anyway. So.
All right, and then Patch of the Month. Boom, patch. Sticker.
Turkinator.
Matching proof. Yeah, the Turkinator.
I love that one.
Where's the accessory patch? Is it?
Accessory patch for the month.
There it is. Why can we see through it? Has it got holes in it?
It's because it's green.
So for those that can't tell, those are nods, and
it says
like it's Black Friday.
Yep. So yeah, gotta love good old Black Friday.
It's a good play on words there, and I see you're sporting one on your microphone there too.
I am. I figured Bigfoot could rock out on the on Bigfoot's mic. So
yeah,
we're family. It's all good.
And David says, "Thanks for the sticker. You are welcome."
Definitely.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
You know, it's time for some Bronco news, right?
Yes. So let's talk about it. No, we did Bronco news last week, so let's do Ford Ranger news this week. So the new Ford Ranger has been spied
Oh,
That means that somebody saw it somewhere. If
is it just one? Just one? So would it be the Lone Ranger?
yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I gotta take a time out. So last night, for anybody who has Disney Plus and absolutely has a terrible dad sense of humor, you gotta watch the Jungle Cruise. So the Jungle Cruise came out. It's got The Rock in it.
Oh yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
And while he's touring people on his boat, all he's doing is just throwing out these puns. He's talking about how the river is lined with sandstone, but a lot of people take it for granite. Just full of these one-liners, and they're just amazing. And I gotta say, I was in Disneyland several years ago, and the Jungle Cruise was my favorite ride because that's what they do on that ride. They tell puns as they're driving you around in their boat. I liked it so much that I took us. So we did it in the morning with our kids. We went after our kids. We dropped the kids off at the hotel with grandma. We went back. I went on the Jungle Cruise again, and somehow we ended up with the same boat captain. Totally pure coincidence because they've got multiple boats running the entire time, and obviously they've got shifts throughout the day. They don't have one person running all day long. And when I got off the boat, I thanked the captain for such a great ride and everything, and she obviously said you're welcome and stuff, and she remembered who I was from the first boat ride. So I don't know if I was like laughing so loud or if maybe I told a dad joke. I can't remember because it was several years ago, but I just remember she remembered me. So anyways, Jungle Cruise. Check it out, Disney Plus. Maybe they'll give us some side money for that plug there.
Probably not, but whatever. Totally worth it.
Yeah. But anyway, or stay tuned to the Offroad Podcast with Andy as a co-host for more terrible puns. Yeah, so the Lone Ranger has been spied. Back to the news. They mentioned in the article that it was being sold in the U.S. in 2019, but it had actually been produced for other markets all the way back in 2011. So it's not a new platform. So it's time to be redesigned, and they're redesigning it. And this whole article is all speculation. So they think that it's going to use the Bronco body-on-frame chassis. And if that's the case, then it will most likely have the 2.3 liter four-cylinder turbo or the 2.7 liter V6 turbo, both being EcoBoost engines. Mentions that four-wheel drive is going to be standard, which I found pretty interesting because, like, can you option it off just to have a two-wheel drive truck, or will the Ranger only be a four-wheel drive truck? You can't get it any other way. But
I wonder if you're going to have to option it to be a standard. Otherwise, it comes as a four-wheel drive, which I can see because it's so annoying when you're looking on the used market and you can't find that four-wheel drive because of all those two-wheel drives. Maybe we're going to start seeing the opposite, where if you're looking for that two-wheel drive, you will have to have optioned it.
Or maybe they'll just have it as four-wheel drive, and if you want a two-wheel drive, you got to step up to a F-150. I mean, maybe they've just decided that the take rate on the Ranger that is so high in four-wheel drive that they don't need a two-wheel drive.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Or here's the other thought, by the way, maybe you just need to buy a Maverick if you want a two-wheel drive truck. So
yeah, both of those make sense. Eric says it only comes in silver, one Tonto option.
That's a Lone Ranger pun, yes.
Yep, some more Lone Ranger puns. So Hi-Ho Silver.
Man.
They also speculate that the Ranger Raptor may come to our shores this time, since Ford has said that they're not bringing it at all in the current Ranger platform, which is a super bummer because I think that people would be hot to trot over that Raptor.
I do wonder if this is going to be a global platform or if this is a U.S. only style Ranger.
Well, so currently we have the Ranger, right? We just got a Ranger. Is that the old platform that's we're seeing overseas?
Yes.
So maybe this is, hey, we're going to combine the platforms so that it's one-time release.
Well, they're saying that where is it here? It says that Ford is going to unveil their new Ranger on November 24th. but it doesn't say when the American spec model will make its debut. So it kind of feels like the timing and everything lines up that they're probably the same chassis.
Yeah. And
So
it's a new generation. You're going to have to wait another year because you're American. Silly Americans.
yep. Do you want to screen share a couple pictures there before we jump out of there, or just let it ride?
No.
It's
You
just a
want
truck.
Check it out. It's camouflage truck, and not even the good kind of camouflage.
Yeah.
Just Google it.
Google it. It's in the show notes. You don't even have to Google it. Just go to the show notes and you'll see it.
There you go. Just go to the show notes.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, guys, we've got to open this up with first. I got to talk about our cover art for this episode because I spent like an hour on this art.
Art. For those just listening, we're doing air quotes. Art.
So it is the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
In their exclusively Overland upgraded Hillbill mobile.
I think they went to four-wheel parts.
No, please no. They've got a Warren VR 10S on the front, along with a Chinesium light bar on the hood, along with a scuttle up there. Pa's cooking up some food on the scuttle, and then they've got some Mac tracks.
Probably the possum they just ran over.
Probably possum.
Possum indeed. Along with some Max tracks strapped to the side because Olaf, and then an ARB fridge in the back, and everyone's rocking some Pit Vipers.
Did you get the snorkel?
Oh, I forgot the snorkel.
Oh,
It's got a snorkel. Yeah, it's hard to see there with the words.
Maybe they're currently on their way to four-wheel parts because they don't have a high lift jack or any D-ring shackles or anything,
or any murder sporks or power tanks.
Yeah,
or first aid kits.
That's true.
It seems like most of these guys just go to Home Depot, so I think maybe they're just going there.
Or a Wii Boost. They don't have Wii Katana up.
Oh, no Wii Boost. Oh, I should have added a Wii Boost. I could have dug so deep into this one. I had fun with this one.
You did a great.
So yeah. But let's start this off with this little blurb we put here in the beginning. Aaron, you want to read it or should I?
Yeah, it says, first of all, bet on yourself and set some long-term and short-term financial goals. Try to improve your income by focusing on staying out of debt, hard work, career advancement, education, and family support network. But if that doesn't work or you can't wait, then try these helpful tips.
All right. Because
in other words, it's saying set some goals, work towards those goals, and use those to get the best product for your dollar.
Yeah. And if you can't afford to buy new, you can always go and look for some if you have to buy new, you can always look for some deals. So you can wait and save for some quality. I hear that so many times from guys. Wait and save.
Hang on. You hear it from the guys because it's us telling it to you.
Yes. Yes.
That's why you're hearing it all the time. Ben, just get off of Wish.
Just save. Just buy once, cry once. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So some ideas is Black Friday sales.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see some good deals on Black Friday. Not always the best, but companies, for instance, I know that
lots of them.
Pedal Commander, for instance, a really good one. How they do their pricing is certain holidays is Black Friday. They have Christmas, New Year's, and a couple other ones. That is when you will see the best price on something like a Pedal Commander, because of how they do their map pricing. And check your local stores. They may sell at map pricing, so that will be the best deal you'll find. that's allowed. Map pricing is a company will set price ranges for sellers to sell at. They sign a contract and they have to sell between those price ranges that they're allowed. MAP stands for minimum advertised pricing. So say you're looking for a Warren winch, there is a low end for that MAP pricing. There will be no lower than that. If you get lower than that and someone's advertised it at that price lower than that, they're going to get in trouble.
Slap on the hand.
And potentially, if you go to buy that item or warranty that item and you bought it from that unauthorized seller, that company may not warranty your product. Bilstein Lifts, I believe, is the name of the company that is notorious for one of those companies. Bilstein has them on their blacklist because they sell under MAP. So you go and you buy some shocks from Bilstein Lifts. You may get a good deal, but those shocks are not going to get warranted.
Just so you know, Warren Industries has a do not sell list, and that do not sell list is composed of MAP violators, and we give them three strikes, and if they refuse to comply, then they get put on the do not sell list, and our distributors are told not to sell to them. So it's a serious thing. It keeps the playing field level for everybody. We could do a whole podcast on that, but yes, but this is why buying from authorized dealers is important.
Yeah, I work for a small company, and we do a lot of our sales at MAP pricing. It's how we compete with online. We try to do more volume through MAP sales so that we can, give our customers a great deal and get them coming back and buying local versus going online and buying from someone online.
That's right.
Andy,
That's why,
real quick, without saying who those people are, what kind of violations, and I know we're supposed to be talking about overlanding for the poors, but I'm just curious, what kind of violations besides selling under MAP might some company get put on that list for?
It's mostly mostly pricing violations is what they would get put on there for. So that's, as far as I understand, the only reason you get put on the naughty list is because you refuse to comply with the pricing policies.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I was right there with you. It's so, I mean, if you want your best deals, check local stores. You could even say the MAP pricing thing. Hey, what's the MAP pricing look like on that? And they'd be like, hey, I sell at MAP. And then, you've gotten a good deal.
Another thing you can do is, for the companies that do have MAP pricing, is so let's say you go to Ben's four-wheel drive shop and he sells you a Warren winch at MAP price. That doesn't mean he can't bundle it with other things. He might do a deal where you've got the Warren winch at MAP pricing, but maybe he's got some items that aren't on MAP pricing, like recovery gear or something like that. So you might find bundles during Black Friday or certain sales. And by the way, a few times a year, a lot of the companies that do MAP, including Warren, will do MAP exemptions. So for a certain time of the year, we actually lower that minimum pricing so they can sell more parts and so on and so forth. But yeah, looking for deals is a good way to save some money. So definitely.
And I mean, that's the best way to go about the new market. And now it's time to look at that used market. This is where I found a lot of deals. I've found so many deals. I know Aaron has, Andy has, Facebook Marketplace. All the time, all the Facebook groups, overland groups, gear groups. There's so many different groups, and you find something like an awning, $100. May not be the best awning in the world, or you may spend $200 and get a nice ARB awning with a metal side on it, or an awning where the bag is damaged. Well, you don't really need that bag, so there you go. You're good to go anyways. Offer up.
Speaking of damaged goods, some places will sell customer return stuff also that you can buy. So you buy from a retailer, not from like the marketplace or Craigslist or whatever. I know that why can't I think of them right now? Rooftop tent guy, CVT.
CVT.
Yep, they will sell used rooftop tents that people return or trade in, so you can get a used tent. Of course, they're going to go through it. They're not going to not open it up and make sure it's worth selling. So, of course, it probably won't have a warranty, but CVT is a good company, and they'll take care of their customers. But they also might have a damaged product, and they'll sell it to you for cheaper. So you can find deals at manufacturers and vendors that are like that. In fact, Amazon has something called Amazon Warehouse, and Amazon Warehouse is a section where everything is returned, whether it was used or not. It might be an open box item or something like that. I bought a ton of things for way under what they cost normally on Amazon Warehouse, and I've never once had something show up to me that looked used. I've had things be opened and the packaging be partly opened, but I've never had a used thing come from Amazon Warehouse. So
Yeah, I've gotten some decent Chinesium lights off of Amazon Warehouse.
I will give you another little tip here that maybe not a whole lot of people know about, but Off-Road Podcast sponsor and my employer, Warn Industries, we have a closeout section of warn.com. You can go to warn.com, and on one of the big splash screens, it'll talk about closeout deals. It's warn.com/product-closeout-deals. And we've got everything on there currently from winch plates to bumpers, a whole host, 6 pages worth of closeout deals. Some of this stuff are items that have been obsoleted or things that are discontinued. But yeah, they're available direct from Warn at a good price. So
where is that spot?
now. On my computer.
Yeah, warn.com/product-closeout-deals.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Gotta save that one for later. And let's see. So we mentioned Facebook Marketplace. OfferUp is another good one. car-part.com. So this is a good spot. So say for instance you drive a 2006 Toyota 4Runner, and you know that
I don't know why you would, but
some people are weird, and you know that you can swap in a 2008 or 2007 and newer FJ Cruiser with a locker directly in the rear end. You can swap it directly into your 4Runner and have an e-locker then. Where would you find an e-locker for cheaper than going out and paying for someone to install it? Well, car-part.com. So you can find some really decent used parts that may be upgrades for your vehicle. So you could find some Titan swap parts if you're one of those weird Nissan drivers. You might even be able to find some of those weird JDM stuff if some weird people drive,
So this is where this is where I found the second engine for my Nissan Titan swap, was through carpart.com. And I've been using these guys for probably 15 years. And when I say these guys, it's actually just like a host website where all the wrecking yards throughout North America can post their stuff for sale. And it's categorized, and it's also really smart. So if for some reason you're searching for a Nissan Titan engine, you can tell it to look for other vehicles that also have that same part. So it might pull up with a Nissan Armada engine that is exactly the same thing as the Titan engine. So
I'm going to have to look at that.
Yeah, I know a guy that's got a Nissan Armada engine in his Xterra. Yeah, he calls it a Titan swap, but it's really an Armada
swap.
Yeah.
So carpart.com with a hyphen between car and part, and it's pretty sweet. You can filter it down by state or region or things like that, and then you can sort it by price. Some of them will have pictures of the parts.
Yeah,
It's
every time I've lost
good.
the spindle in the Forerunner, I use Car Dash Part, and I just go to the junkyard, and sometimes I pay them to pull it, sometimes I have to pull it. It varies junkyard to junkyard. COVID rules have made it really fun. Do call ahead, because they might even just ship it to you at a fee.
Mhm.
Cool.
Like I say, I've been using it for years. I was buying turbochargers on there before turbochargers were like the coolest thing to put in your car back in the tuner car days. So yeah, pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Yep. So we mentioned Facebook groups again. Just because Facebook groups, I mean, I found so many good deals on Facebook groups. You never know. And then forums, they're kind of dead. They're kind of dead,
Yep.
but they're not. If you're in a certain group, for instance, that's popular. What is it? Overland Expo, or was it Expedition Overland? No, Expedition Portal. There we go.
There
Very,
you go. Yeah.
very active forum still. So you might be able to find some stuff on there that'll relate to your vehicle. Overseas. When I say overseas, unfortunately, I mean like Alibaba, but I mean it's one of those ones where you're gonna get what you pay for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where you get wished. So though I mean, with every risk, every now and then you can get rewarded, but that's a gamble, and like we mentioned, sometimes it's just easier to wait and pay for it.
Brent says that he got a Nissan Pro 4X axle from car-part.com. The Pro 4X is the one that has the e-locker in it, and he installed it in his SV model Frontier. So, and he says the axle was $1,400 delivered. So
That's about what it is for an e-locker, or that's about what it is for my Forerunner. Versus, I want to say installing an locker is it's $700 just for the or no, it's about $1,000 just for the locker, and then you've got probably another $700 in labor for them to install it, plus you have to break it in on all the other stuff. Versus this, throw some new fluid in it, roll out the old one, roll in the old one, new one.
yeah,
Probably take you about 2 hours.
that's a delivered price also. So if you could pick it up, it's going to be a lot cheaper than
Yeah.
paying for delivery, which I'm guessing on an axle is probably $300 to $400 of delivery by itself. So
Yep.
yeah.
Let's see here. Build it yourself. You can save some money like this. For instance, you want the Chinese diesel heater that looks really cool in one of those cool boxes. You could just build one yourself in one of those cool boxes with enough time and patience. I've seen guys build rooftop tents that are some really cool. There's a whole group dedicated to building rooftop tents. DIY sliders. Yeah, there's look for some alternatives on forums. So alternative products, instead of buying, the biggest, greatest name in recovery boards or fridges, there might be a alternative brand that's a little more affordable that has good reviews. And obviously, let's talk. Knowing knockoffs makes sense. And like, for instance, a sleeping bag. I run a Tecton sleeping bag. It's definitely not going to be found at REI. Great sleeping bag. And I also run like a Gazelle T4 Overland or T4 tent. It's a nice quality tent. I paid for a quality tent because that's a quality piece of gear versus the Walmart tent. Because the Walmart tent's going to last one season, and that Gazelle's 3 seasons in now. I think it's the 3rd year I've had it. So
Why don't we?
I think you bring up I was just gonna say, I think you bring up a good point about knowing when to spend big money and when not to spend big money. There are certain things that you shouldn't cheap out on, and there are certain things that maybe you can get by with maybe a step below the premium or whatnot. So,
Like, let's say a personal locator beacon. Don't buy one of those off of Wish.
right. You know what that is? If you get a personal locator beacon off of Wish,
A Tamagotchi.
it's a big white flag. That's all it is.
No, it's a Tamagotchi. Come on.
It's a Tamagotchi, and you better
It
feed
probably
the
would
thing.
up. Yeah, just keeps you busy till hopefully somebody rescues you.
Yeah.
Boy, someone should put a secret menu into like the Garmin personal locator beacon thing. I can't think of what it's called, but
The
'cause it's
Garmin
got a
Mini?
screen on it.
Yeah,
the Garmin
it'd be
Mini,
perfect for a Garmin
Should-
Mini.
They could put a Tamagotchi in that. That would be amazing.
That would be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on that mod.
Oh, let me know. I got one of those.
Send them
So
an
let me
email.
know.
Yeah. So why don't we each talk about a few things that we've done to our vehicles or our camp gear that we've either bought or built on a budget, whether you saved and got something for a good deal or if you got something used. So Andy, why don't you talk about something that you've a few things. Throw some stuff out there.
Yeah, I smelted my own iron to make a transmission one time. So that no, I'm just kidding. No, the one I always think about was I used to have a 95 Suzuki Sidekick. Loved the little thing. It was very teal. We called it the Teal Terror. But anyway, I remember when it came time to find a winch bumper for it, I was like, man, what am I going to do? I don't really have this. I paid $1,800 for this thing. I didn't really want to spend $1,800 on a winch bumper for it and all this stuff. And I started cruising Craigslist, and you just never know what you're going to find on Craigslist. And lo and behold, I found a used Schrockworks winch bumper for a Sidekick in Vancouver, Washington.
Wow.
And I borrowed my dad's Cherokee, drove up to Vancouver, Washington, and bought it. I saved myself about $500 by buying it used. It needed to be repowder coated. I ended up rattle canning it which lasted quite a while, and eventually I actually took it off and had it powder coated myself at a friend that had a company. So I did get a deal on it, but yeah, like there are certain things. I've bought used wheels before, especially for the Sidekick, because there's not a whole lot of bolt patterns, a whole lot of offerings in a 5x139.7. So
That had
I've
5
bought
lugs on it.
it was a 5 lug.
I expected it to have 4. So.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 3, but anyway, yeah. So same bolt pattern as some of the early Dodges, but anyway, not a whole lot of options. So I've bought used wheels a number of times. I know that there's a whole. I bought my off-road trailer. I got used. It's a unit out of Salem called Danute, and I bought a demo unit. I saw it online I saw it on a forum site, and I ended up buying that that was like 7 years ago. So yeah, I'm a big Craigslist / oh, here's a pro tip. If you can stomach being on Nextdoor.com, there are some really good finds that people get rid of that sometimes they don't necessarily go for as much as they'd go for in some of the other forum sites or groups, because there are people that are just trying to give it away to their neighbors and whatnot. So check out nextdoorfinds.com, as long as you're not in my neighborhood scooping up the good stuff. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, Ben, you mentioned a diesel heater. I know that you built and assembled one yourself. What else have you built and bought?
I just want to point out this. So my Chinesium diesel heater that I probably built for $300. The Planner diesel heat. If you go like Planner diesel heaters, they've got them in like the Pelican cases. Those sell for $1,825 Canadian, $1,825 Canadian. Which is like, I don't know how many Freedom Eagles that is. Probably like 2,000.
No,
it's $1,500 US.
So still, that's still at least $1,000 in savings right there.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've got a DIY front bumper. I paid a buddy some beer. I think I gave him beer and pizza to weld it up for me. My sliders, very similar. Actually, I just hung out with the guy for my sliders. I've bought 90% of my equipment used. Buying used has been a big one for me. Or if it's new, it's something my wife and I have kind of looked at. She's researched the hell out of it because she got tired of me buying garbage and wasting my money on garbage. I know, Aaron's shocked. Yeah, it's and I got tired of it too, especially when I got wished with the heater. That really annoyed me.
Do they call it wish because after you buy it, you wish you'd bought the right one?
No, I bought the right thing. They just sent me the wrong thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I got hosed on that one. I got my money back. So let's see. I'm trying to think. I got an awning and an awning room on Facebook Marketplace for $200. An ARB awning room with a Smitty built awning. Was not a fan of the zipper on the awning, but I was able to hold it shut with some paracord. And then I upgraded the awning later on to a better awning. I bought my rooftop tent off of Facebook for I'll just say it. I spent $400 on my rooftop tent. It had the big crack in it, and I had to fix it. And I've got it fixed, and it works. And
so
I've got
altogether, you're $400 into it after you fixed it.
Less than that. I spent about $200 to fix it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's something we didn't really talk about also when you're buying stuff is that Andy mentioned he had a friend with a powder coat business. I assume maybe you got a deal. I don't know. But sometimes, you've got friends. Try not to abuse those people. But if they're willing to help you out, Ben had somebody weld his stuff up for him. Your friends usually are more than happy to help you because you'll probably have to repay that favor someday for them and stuff like that. So, yeah.
If you, and I'll say this up front right now, if any of my friends have called me for a favor, I am doing my best to respond because they've given me favors, and it's shown in the past. Some of those friends have become really good friends because we essentially pass each other back and forth with favors, like welding, and let alone just being friends and going camping. It's hey man, oh dude, those sliders look really awesome. I'm so glad they turned out great on your rig.
So I want to. Eric has a comment here. Says I got everything new and paid retail, and then the next sentence is, and that's why I only have sliders and air. So I'm assuming he's talking about onboard air, and that's true. When he's telling a joke, but it's the truth. When you spend retail, it absorbs a lot of money, and that's why Ben's rig is built as much as it is because he's been frugal and bought and used things or gotten some good deals from friends and stuff like that. And same with me. So my Nissan,
even my rig was frugal.
Yep. Well, mine was too. I bought the Frontier because I didn't want to spend Tacoma money on the front end. So, and I've been so happy with my Frontier. I used to say that, if I would do it over again, I'd probably buy a Taco. I used to say that, but honestly, I'm so happy with my Frontier. I don't feel that way anymore. I'm actually glad that I'm not in the Taco Club. So I might be an elitist jerk or something if I was. Who knows? I have my own Taco podcast.
Well, since Coy's not here, your Nissan Frontier has actually had me look at like the new Nissan Frontier and go, I actually like that. I like the front end of that and how it looks better than the Tacoma now.
Yeah,
in my opinion, and the fact that it only comes in black, or at least that's what I saw so far.
I don't think it comes in other than black, but you know what? And I don't have the show notes up in front of me right now, but and so forgive me if I'm jumping ahead. Are we going to talk about rigs specifically here?
No.
Yeah, we can do that next.
Okay, so I was just going to say, if we're going to talk about overlanding for the poors, I figured that there was a reason you had me on, and that's because every rig I've had is fairly inexpensive. I've never dumped taco money or JL money or Gladiator money, anything like that, because when I first got into off-road, I didn't have much money to spend on a project vehicle, right? I didn't have much money to get into a four-wheel drive. I bought a 95 Suzuki Sidekick in Miami Vice teal for $1,800. It had a custom intake on it, and the guy's like, "Do you want the custom intake?" I'm like, "No, you homemade the custom intake, and I don't want it." Anyway, give me the stock air box. But so, like, I appreciate the fact that you guessed on where to put the math on this. But anyway, so I just didn't have much money, and for years, my whole ethos around some of this stuff, and this is just for me, is you don't have to spend $40,000 on a new Tacoma or Wrangler or whatever to get out there and really do the overlanding thing, do the off-roading thing, do anything like that. You know, I'll tell you what, that little Suzuki we took up to British Columbia, down to Arizona. We had it in after, of course, getting it fixed up and whatnot. We had it in booths at shows. It was a lot of fun. It was a project, and even now, I mean, my JDM Mitsubishi stuff, my Pajero, my expensive Pajero was $8,400. You know, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get out there. So no matter what you're buying, I mean, we all understand Toyotas are generally more expensive. They have a high resale value. You know, even any pickup these days is going to be expensive. It's crazy. Yeah. I saw a fantastic, I think it was a 91 Cummins, just beautiful. It was like $44,000. It was like crazy. And I'm totally down if you want to spend that kind of money. And if you've got 150 grand into your Sprinter, like you do you, right? But you don't have to spend that money to get out there and actually do the exploring, do the overlandering, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and one of my big points for this episode when the idea first came up was I was actually at Andy's house and we were talking. It was when I picked up all the tires.
Yep.
And it was, you know, you really don't need all this gear. You do not need the Hillbilly Deluxe with the winch, the light bar, the Max Trax, the fridge, the Pit Viper sunglasses to go out and have fun. All you need is your rig, a buddy. I always bring a buddy.
Cooler, or White Claw.
A White Claw. You need a styrofoam cooler with your provisions, a case of Coors, and you can go out in the woods and have a good time for a night or two. And you know, then you evaluate your gear. And I always tell everyone this whenever, I'm getting ready to go overlanding. What do I need? Yourself, motivation, and figuring out what works for you. Because what works for me doesn't work for Aaron, does not work for Andy. But, you know, hey, Aaron has this fridge. It's really cool. I like it. His is bigger than what I need. But I'm kind of, do I need a fridge? A cooler will work for what I do for the most part.
Yeah.
So I have the Walmart lifetime cooler that I spent $99 on, and it works. It does what I need. I just have to buy ice. So don't feel pressured into needing to go buy all these great, cool things, gizmos, because really you can go out with a cooler full of ice and have just as much fun, take all those cool gram pictures, and enjoy yourself. Like I have more fun sitting around the fire with my friends because we're out there instead of trying to save up for the gear so that I can go out there with my friends.
You know, you bring up a really, really good point. And that point is, listen, I work for a company that sells gear. Which is one thing. But sometimes I think a lot of us lose focus, especially looking at the idyllic Instagram photos and watching the YouTube videos and all these things. And we lose focus about why are we even doing some of this stuff? Why are we camping? Why are we overlanding? Why are we wheeling on the weekends? Is it to show off the the new cooler or the new fridge or your air compressor, or I mean, like, what are you doing it for? I mean, I guess there probably are people out there that really just do this for Instagram likes, but
Mhm.
I do it because I love getting outside. I like the challenge that wheeling presents. I like going out to places, remote places that 99% of the general public is never going to go, and nobody's going to give a rip whether or not I'm I'm on steel wheels or if I've got a set of crazy expensive forged wheels. Nobody cares. I mean, you got to do what's right for you, and you also should be doing it within your budget. I am a buy once, cry once person. Like, if I decide that I'm going to get something, I am generally going to save up within my budget to get the things that I need versus buying multiple cheap things. That's just me. But I'm 43 American years old here, right? So I remember being 23 years old and spending my paycheck on a set of wheels. And my wife tells me, well, how much you got in your savings account? I said, well, like $150. And she's like, how much were your wheels and tires? I'm like, 500. Like, do the math here. Like, think about what's important,
Yeah.
So maybe buy the cheaper set of wheels or tires if you have to get tires. Anyway, I could go on. It could be Dave Ramsey. I tell you what. Anyway.
But I mean, it comes down to, there's certain equipment that eventually you're going to need. If you're off-roading and you need a winch, buy a Warren, buy a quality winch. That way you buy once, cry once.
Yeah, there are certain things that are worth spending the money on. Things that are going to. I always tell people there are certain things you just don't skimp on, and most of those revolve around safety. Don't buy the cheap junk tires. Don't buy the cheap recovery gear, whether it's worn or not. There are certain things from a safety standpoint that you shouldn't cheap out on. Like you said, GPS locators. Like, don't get the one off a Wish.
I hope there isn't one on Wish. I made
hope
that.
not either.
I'm sure there is.
I'm sure they're signing one.
Yep. Go do read reviews on products. Find what's going to fit you and your budget. For instance, go look at the reviews on MaxTrax. Like, if you have to have MaxTrax, I have never heard of a pair of MaxTrax snapping in half, and that's why they are number one in quality. Now, there are some other brands that are a step or two below. That I believe ARB is one of the brand. Tread Pros.
Yeah, Tread, I think they're called.
Yeah, there's a step below that's not terrible. Or, for instance, if you go with a company like Ironman 4x4 and you buy one of their lifts, it comes with a free set. Every now and then they have a deal. It comes with a free set of their recovery boards. Well, you bought a nice lift, and if your stuff breaks, or if your free recovery treads break, well, well, at least you had them and they were free, and you're not out the money that you could have spent on something more useful.
And I've had this backfire though. Like, when I had that Sidekick, I bought a set of used BF Goodrich tires. I should have known. They were absolutely dunked in tire shine. And I just thought, man, $150 for 4 of these is such a great deal. I mean, they looked like they had been sort of dug up from maybe a prehistoric time, but I didn't know. So I spent $150 or $200, whatever it was, on these tires, and they just wouldn't balance out. And so, I paid for balancing twice at Les Schwab, and I eventually brought them into a Discount Tire, and they said, "Do you know how old these tires are?" And I said, "No." And they told me how to read a date code. The tires were 23 years old.
Oh,
so So I'll tell you what, I literally threw away like $300 buying these tires and having them balanced out and stuff like that. Where, had I done my research, I could have spent a little bit more money, but saved $300. So part of the Overlanding for the Poors thing may also involve doing a little bit more research than people who can just be like, I'm going to buy the brand newest everything and I don't have to worry about the money. And of course, all rich people talk like that. So, but anyway.
Yeah. So David has a question here, and I haven't yet spoken about what I have done as a poor. So David says, okay, with all that said, just starting my Overlander, what should I purchase and in what order? No real rock crawling trails down here in Louisiana. So
Light bar first.
yes, Illuma lockers. So before I answer that question, before any of us answer that question, I want to talk about what my path was in my Frontier. So bought a Nissan Frontier. I bought a 2-inch puck lift for up front and some lift shackles for the rear. And the lift shackles didn't work out, so I did have to pay a spring company to re-arch my springs and add a couple leaves. So I did like the add a leaf in the rear. It was more expensive than an add a leaf. It was $650 or whatever, but I'm still running on those same rear leafs 100,000 miles later, which already had 40,000 miles on them when I did that. And I ran that 2-inch, which I eventually upgraded to a 3-inch puck spacer up front, which everybody says is the wrong way to lift your truck. And they're right, except for it is the right way to lift your truck when you're getting into things and you're poor. I ran that for 100,000 miles, and people said, well, you can't run a 3-inch. You get coil bucket contact on the Nissan Frontiers. If I did have coil bucket contact, I never noticed, and I usually pick up on those things. So essentially, I ran the cheapest lift you can do for 100,000 miles on my Nissan Frontier. And what did that do for me? That allowed me to upgrade other parts because I was cheap there, but it allowed me to get out and have fun all the time with my truck. I had a lifted truck. I put 33s on it, and I just took my truck camping all the time. The year that I bought my rooftop tent, I was like, sweet, I'll probably get to take the rooftop tent out like twice or whatever. I left that thing strapped on the roof of my truck. I went camping 7 times that year after picking up the rooftop tent in May. So from May through December, I went camping 7 times, which was unheard of for me, but because it was just there and ready to go. And the rooftop tent, I bought it on a 30% off sale that they had. So I saved some money there, got a great deal, picked it up at the factory. So a lot of people build things in different orders. I lifted my truck, put tires on it, and essentially took it wheeling. I shortly after I added some sliders, which were a prefab slider, but you still had to weld parts of it together. I put sliders on it. I found skid plates used on a forum and put skid plates under my truck off the forum. But besides those 2 things, I just wheeled my truck because I love spending money. Don't get me wrong. But I just didn't have the capital to just keep throwing at my truck and things like that. It took me a long time to save up to do all my Titan swapping business, which was also all used parts for the most part, except for a couple suspension things that were brand new up front. So David wants to know, he's just starting, what should he purchase in what order? Ben has 5 things he wants to say.
Yes, 5 things. All right. First thing, get your basic essentials, your camping essentials, your basics, your tent, your sleeping bag, your very basic camping essentials. Get those. Okay. That's the important thing, because now you can just go camping. But you're taking your vehicle. So obviously, number 2, you got to grab that buddy, go with somebody, maybe go someone that's equipped that knows what they're doing, but you're going wheeling, so you need to get some of those wheeling essentials. So get your wheeling essentials, get your basics, your recovery gear, some communication, have a plan. And then go out and experience it. All right, you've experienced it, you've gone out, you've come home. All right, what do you need now? Well, it depends upon your experience. Do you need more lift? Do you need more tire? Generally, that's a good start, is a little bit of lift, a little bit more tire. And then
find out what your tires won't do for you.
Yeah.
So you're in Louisiana, you probably got some really slick mud. You got some clay down there. You're probably going to want a mud terrain rather than an all-terrain. You're not getting snow, that's for sure. So you don't have to care about that snowflake rating that I'm so interested in because I love to snow wheel.
Snowflake.
3-peak rating, yep.
I think what did I say, Ben? Did I say snow?
You said snowflake.
It is the snowflake, but it's 3-peak is what they call it.
It is the 3-peak. Yep, you're right.
Yes, but it does have that snowflake. And I would have to say, kind of piggybacking off what Aaron says, For me personally, the first thing I've done on every single one of my 4-wheel drives is a good set of tires. Even before I've lifted stuff, I've gone wheeling on stock vehicles, but they always have had a decent tire. It's amazing how far you can go in a stock 4-wheel drive with good tires. And if you live in Alaska, you're probably buying a different tire than if you're living in Louisiana.
Yeah, and look at what the Gambler 500 shows. You can go out in a Toyota Corolla, you can thrash through the woods with a little bit more of an aggressive tire. Well, look at the Stink Bug. We had a more aggressive light truck tire, and was it a snow tire? I think it was
No, just an aggressive street tire.
an aggressive street tire, and we got
It wasn't even an all terrain. I don't think.
we got a lot of places that you wouldn't see a Volkswagen Bug go because we took it through.
It wasn't wet. That it would have made a difference if it was wet. We would have probably wanted some.
Well, we spun out that one time. It was wet on the road.
That's true. On going up the hill from the dam.
Yeah.
There were a couple of places. Even in I had a Cherokee lift on 31s when we did the Gambler, and there were a couple of areas that were pretty gnarly with mud and whatnot. But I will say too, like, everybody, this whole overlanding phenomenon seems to have become more about the gear than about the camping and the travel and all that over the last 10 years. And a stock vehicle will go so much farther than most people know, especially once you learn how to use it. So to Ben's point, go out with people who do know how to use their vehicles and ask the questions. Don't be embarrassed if you're like, do I put it in 4 low now? Or like, how do I air down my tires? Using I saw a comic strip the other day that showed two windows at the DMV, and on one side it says new gear and there's a line out the door, and then the second window said gear I already have, and there's one person in line.
Yeah.
So like everybody wants all the newest, latest, greatest gear and all that stuff, but tell you what, learn how to drive your stock. There is nothing that gives me greater pleasure on the trail than outwheeling people in my shitbox $8,000 truck.
Yeah.
When you get the guy, and this isn't a dig on Jeep owners or any other people, but when I had my Cherokee and I had a locker in 31s, like not big dollar 38s or anything like that, and I have this guy who's clearly new, and we're all new at some point, and he comes up to me and goes, I can't believe you made it up that obstacle and I didn't. He's in a JK on 37s, locked front and rear, and I'm on a Cherokee locked in the rear with 31s. And it's all about experience and knowing how to use the gear that you have. Experience counts for a lot, especially when you don't have a lot of money. Learning how to use what you got, putting the best to it. And it's so much about it. This is experience.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, if they don't want to share experience with you, you don't want to be on the trail with them anyways.
Totally agree.
To go with. Yep. Find somebody else to go with.
Because the people that want to share the experiences with you, like my friends always joke about, oh, Ben breaking down in the middle of the woods or getting stuck. But you know what? They're also the first people to jump out there and help me recover. And I'm also the first one to get out there and help recover them so I can bust their balls. And because it's fun to recover. Like getting stuck is a fun thing to do. Don't let it stress you out. Like getting stuck is the adventure. That's the stories around the campfire that make the experience fun. Don't be afraid to get stuck.
When I was a kid and I was learning how to ski, my father used to tell me all the time, if you're not falling, you're not learning. And what he meant by that is if you're not falling down because you're pushing yourself a little bit more, you're not pushing the boundaries and trying to learn. It's a little bit the same way with camping, off-roading, wheeling, whatever you want to do is, getting stuck means you may have made a mistake, but you're going to learn from that mistake, and taking your time to learn from those mistakes and learning how to recover yourself and all that stuff. In my world, in the off-road recovery world, I have so many people who come up to me at many of these shows and are very proud to have our products. And I'm very happy that they purchase them. And a lot of the times they'll say, gosh, I hope I never have to use it. And I always tell them, make sure you know how to use it before you need to know how to use it. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast on that. But relating it to this is just like, don't be afraid to ask the questions when you're new. And okay, you've saved up and you've bought a good set of tires, a decent set of tires. They may not be brand new KM3s, but maybe they're a used set of KO2s or something. I don't know, whatever. Get out there. Just get out there and get the experience. And it doesn't matter how much you're spending. So you don't have to spend tons of money to do this.
Hopefully that answers your question, David.
Yeah. That was the short answer.
That was the short answer.
That was, honestly, it really was. Ask that question online. Whew. Yeah, it'll get deep. It'll get deep fast. You'll have the most comments you've ever seen in a thread.
Yeah. And Brett, I'm in before lock on that one.
A scuttle and a straw hat, sun hat.
In before lock. Love it. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we could probably continue on a lot longer. And if anyone ever wants us to revisit this topic or to visit a topic similar to it, I don't know.
Well, Ben, we're going to have a couple coming up here soon, actually. We're going to do an episode about things I wish I never bought.
Oh, I wonder who's going to be in that one.
And then we're also going to have our annual stocking stuffer Christmas episode. So we're going to talk about things we want to buy. So those both go along the lines of purchasing, whether they're expensive or not expensive. So yeah, so we got a couple coming up that'll be a little bit in line with that. So,
and I want to bring this up before we close this out. Eric said he loved the part about how much a stock vehicle will do. And Eric's that is a prime example of and Eric's proof of that. We went on a trip with Eric. He has no lift, a tire size above, and so he had sliders. That was and air. That's all he had for that trip when we went down to Nevada. He had his sliders on. He might not have had his sliders on, but he had everything he needed.
Well, but didn't you guys go to Tahuya before that?
I didn't go to Tahuya. I never got to go wheeling with Eric before.
I thought maybe I'm remembering wrong. I thought Eric got to go to Tahuya.
But this was his first overland trip.
Yep. And
he went with they slept in his vehicle. They used a cooler. I mean, all the basic the fanciest thing he had was a French press glass coffee French press, and it got broken on like the third day from his tailgate when we went to put the sticker on. Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's you don't need much to go out and have fun. So thanks to everyone who listens to us weekly and those who watch us live on YouTube. We definitely really appreciate you and your questions and comments. And please share us with your friends, help us grow, and God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening.
I just realized in the cover art that I didn't even have to Photoshop a straw sun hat for Pa, because he already had one on.
Yeah. One thing that Coy wishes he would have never bought is AT&T for his service on a cell phone.
Oh.